As I indicated earlier, commissioners, I have 2 divisional commissioners. I don't deal with the ground. Now, the 2 divisional commissioners, Divisional Commissioner CI, Crime Intelligence, who is also doing the political killing testing, must hand over to General Sintumule, under whose mandate the murder and robbery unit fall. So this one must hand over to this one.
Was that your instruction, that this one must hand over the dockets to the other one?
That's correct.
Yes, because the reason I'm asking is I had understood you earlier to be saying you gave no instruction and you had nothing to do with the handover of the dockets. That's why I was a bit confused. So I needed that clarity so that I understand. How did General Sentumule get to decide that she must get dockets from General Kumalo? So you're saying you are the one who instructed General Kumalo to hand over the dockets to General Sentumule?
Yes. That's the first point. The second point is that based on their action plan themselves, they said this is what we are going to do. Themselves, they came up with an action plan. This is the action plan they came up with and said this is what we are going to do. But it was inevitable anyway because General Situmula, it is her role, it is her department. So my instruction was just to say, give from this one to this one. So this is how she got involved. But what I never gave, the instruction that I never gave was to say, go get the dockets from KZ and bring them to head office. That never happened. I'm going now on paragraph 114. On the 22nd of April 2025, I followed up with Divisional Commissioner on the implementation of the Minister Mkhwanazi Directive. A copy of my follow-up letter is attached here to as annexer SS21. This was as a result of the fact that the dockets were now taken to head office because now the dockets were here and I had to push now that something must happen so that they don't stay there and gather dust at head office. On the 23rd of April 2025, a further 3 dockets were handed over by General Kumalo. The dockets were in relation to the investigation conducted in the Eastern Cape. A copy of the handing over schedule addressed to General Sintumula is attached, marked as SS22. Now you can see the difference. This one was on the 23rd of April. And then this one, the dockets were handed over on the 28th of March, which is almost a month thereafter when the 3 dockets were now taken to General Sintumula. So it is imperative that I emphasize that the dockets were not taken to be stored at head office. They were to be taken to where the investigations could continue. Alternatively to their station of origin, as contemplated in the presentation prepared by General Kumalo and on the 5th and the 6th March 2025 briefing. The status of the docket. I was provided with a report on the status of the investigation on the docket. This status report on the docket was prepared by General Merikuki Motsepe. A copy of this report is attached here to Annexer SS23. May I read into the record Annexer SS23? Don't have it. It's not here. It's not here.
It's the next file, General.
No. 353 is
3 of 10.
Now, this is the when you look at 356 to 422, I'm not going to go through case by case, it's a lot, commissioners. But what I want to demonstrate here is that this docket, when you look at the columns, from column, you've got column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns. The first one, it will be the station and the case, let's say the crime committed, then the case number, then the description of what happened, and the IO involved in the outstanding investigations and who's the victim. I'm not going to enter into that space of the names and the victim just to protect the families. But what I want to say is that when you look at the first case of Harding,
Perhaps General, you should start by saying what is the document on page 356 and the one at 422 that you say we should compare with. If you would just describe the document itself. And maybe the heading of the document does assist.
Commissioner, let me understand from where the commissioner is coming from.
Well, what I'm asking you to do is, before you discuss the information that is in page 356, in the report in 356, you first say, what is this document?
This is a progress report of political killing cases that were, as they were inspecting each and every docket.
Yes.
And then they had to prepare a report.
Okay.
Per docket.
Okay. And then 422 that you say we should compare with, what is that document?
Allow me to go to 422. All right. Now, 422, as you can see that later, the document that was drawn up during the handing over, it's a document that it is an inspection report of the status and the conditions under which we found these files. This file was last seen, this is what it was about, and this was the crime committed, and then this is when last this file was seen, was inspected or worked on. But when you look at the next one, the one of 422, it's like a document to try and cover or maybe oppose the first document that we produced, because this one was not there initially. But I'll get to it when I get to it. Can I proceed on this one?
No, I just wanted for the record for us to know what documents we are comparing. I'm happy with your description. You can proceed.
Now, when you look at this 356, and you look at column 1, 2, 3, 4, the fourth column, Chair, the fourth column, you will see a sergeant name, and then you'll see, I want us to concentrate on the last day of investigation date. This is only what we are going to, and then maybe at some point where there's a need, we'll say in the last paragraph, you'll see whether, for instance, not political related, what is it about? So only those two ones we will see. Now, when you look at the first one, it says the heading one is 2023-03-24. This is the last day of investigation in the investigation diary of that case, which means this docket was last opened more than a year. It was not touched. When you look at the next one, is 2024-12-14. But I want to take you to number 5, Muden. This docket, the last day of investigation was date 2022-08-24. Then you page again, you go to number 7, Umkomas matter. It's a murder case, drug related. It says the last day of the investigation date was 2020-03-30, which means this docket was already not being worked on for almost 5 years. When you go to, I'm picking, Chair, number 9, Umlazi, it was last seen on 2023-08-16. But when you go to number 10 of Escort, the last day of investigation is 2019. These are the dockets now that are sitting somewhere in a corner and gathering dust. When you look at 11, Thornville 1, this investigation, the last investigation date was 2021-11-06. When you go to 13, Kwanongoma, the last day of investigation of the matter is 2023-09-17. And I'm not going to go all because there are too many, Chair. And of course, there will be few that are on the 2025, 2024, so that it doesn't look like I'm only picking the West one. Because that question might come and say, why are you just picking on the one that you want us to know about? But what I wanted to say is that go to 23. Let's say 22 and 23. 22 is Paddock. The last day of investigation is 2022. You go to the one 2023, to 23 is 2020-14. You go to 2024, number 24, the last day of investigation is 2019. So if you go on and on, Chair, is the same situation. All these dockets, I can go up to, let's say, for instance, go to 48 and 47. The last day of investigation is 2020, 06-26. 48 is 2021, 05-19. You go to 49, Melmoth is 2022, 05-10. So let me end here, just to save time. But I want to say, we didn't take the docket, store them at head office. They are gathering dust somewhere in my office. I've never seen even a single docket to date. I've never seen even one. There's never been in my office. I don't have a safe in my office, nor an archive. I've never had any docket sitting in my office gathering dust at all. But I was just showing this, and then I will go back to the statement, Chair. Now, we were at paragraph.
Before you go to the statement, General, did you receive a copy, this report? I mean, surely you expected that the report will come to you.
Yes, I did receive the copy of the report, and then there was one that was also crafted by General Motsepe, but I think that one was crafted well after the press conference.
Yes, I think the point of my question is, so you would have come to know what dockets there are, what is contained in the dockets, and what is the status of the dockets.
This report, yes, I got it.
Thank you.
Can I proceed? Chair, evidence leader, you'll advise me. I'm at paragraph 119.
Yes, you are.
All right. 118, my observation of the status of the 121 dockets handed over is that many of them had not been worked on since 2018. It is therefore incorrect and malafide to attribute any investigative delays to me, as these dockets were only under head office control for a period of 3 months. In paragraph 142 of General Mkhwanazi's statement, He states that at the time of removal from the task team, 5 of the dockets that were removed allegedly already contained instructions to arrest named suspects and that the arrests were not effected while the dockets were under my control for reasons not known to him. I want to categorically deny or make it clear that I never had any docket in my possession. I didn't delay any docket. I didn't even have any insight of any docket. I wouldn't have known that there is this docket that is due, because the people who did a handing over was General Sintumula and General Kumalo, and General Sintumula was part of the handing over, would have known about certain dockets that they will have arrest warrants. I wouldn't have known.
General, I don't think this is controversial, maybe just so that we correct it. In the second line, your statement says 2019, but when you read, you said 2018. And then the period of 3 months, I think it's also not controversial that it was actually 5. You've already testified that the dockets were taken on the 28th of March, and they were returned sometime in August. So that's a 5-month period and not 3 months as recorded in your statement. I don't think that is controversial. It's just a matter of correcting it as we go along.
Yes, even in mine is 2019, but what I know is that when you page through, you will find one that says 2018, 1 or 2. That's why, as I was writing myself, I said 18, but I accept it's just a typo. Even if I was to go with 2019, it's still fine, Chair.
And then the 3 months, the last sentence of that paragraph. The dockets were taken on 28 March and they were returned in August.
Yes.
So that is 5 months, not 3 months.
Yes.
Because March takes you to June, that's 3 months. July, August, that's 5.
Yes. Now, I'm tempted, Chair, to address this issue of why they were there for that period. But on the other hand, I may find that, like the evidence leader already warned me that now you are deviating again from your statement. I'm going to go through the statement, but I don't know whether somewhere I will get a... Let me go with the statement. Because...
But General, do you agree that we change the 3 months, last line of 118 to 5 months? That's the point Commissioner Kumalo was raising. Or not?
Chair, there was a sort of a confusion in between.
Leave aside the 3 Eastern Cape dockets.
Yes.
Just looking at the bulk of the dockets.
Yes, when I said there was a sort of a confusion somewhere in between, they were there, and then at the time up until when I was myself suspended, then they went at a particular time, which may have now pushed it to 5 months.
We won't change it then. I did not want to invite a debate.
So,
let's leave it at your 3 months.
Yes, I would say 3 months, even if it's 5 months, is to me personally.
Let's leave it.
It's a delay long enough.
Let's leave it. Let's leave it. Please continue.
In paragraph 119. 119. In paragraph 142 of General Mkhwanazi's statement, he states that at the time of the removal from the task team, 5 dockets that were removed allegedly already contained the instruction to arrest named suspects and that the arrests were not effected while the dockets were under my control for reasons not known. I still believe that if there were dockets that were ready to be arrested, they could have themselves effected those arrests because they had warrant of arrest. But there was no dockets, apparently, according to the report that I saw drafted by General Motsepe, that had a warrant of arrest. If there's any...
I think on this, please go by what you have in your statement, because you do make the point about there being no J50s and so on in the docket. So please don't speak to it. Just
Thanks a lot,
Yeah,
Chair.
because otherwise it causes delays.
Thanks a lot, Chair. The tenor of General Mkhwanazi's testimony reflects an attempt to shape a narrative adverse to me and to impugn my reputation. A consideration of SS23 demonstrates that, contrary to General Mkhwanazi's allegations that 5 of the dockets that were removed allegedly already contained instructions to arrest named suspects, only 4 dockets contained instructions to arrest, which appeared to originate from the investigating officer, and not 5 as alleged. Significantly, none of these dockets contained signed J50 forms. A J50 form is a formal warrant of arrest issued by a magistrate or judge authorizing the police to arrest a named suspect. So the absence of such signed J50 form demonstrates that even where internal arrest instructions existed, the process had not progressed to the point of securing judicial authorization. Furthermore, and notwithstanding that there were only 4 dockets which contained any instructions to arrest named suspects, the objective documentary records reflect the following. The first docket directing the arrest of a named suspect recorded the last day of investigation to be 24 August 2022. 3 years. And they didn't arrest that suspect within that 3 years. The second docket recorded the last day of investigation, 17 February 2023. The third docket recorded the last day of investigation of 17 September 2023, and the last docket records the last day of investigation on 24 March 2023. These are the dockets that were said to be ready for arrest. But look at where they come from, without the PKTT themselves not having effected this arrest over this period of time. It is demonstrably and plainly false to suggest that the failure to effect this arrest or the alleged inability of the PKTT to act was because the dockets were sitting at head office under my control. By the time any question arose about the dockets being at head office, the investigation had long since reached a recorded conclusion, and the arrest could and should already have been effected. It is disingenuous and deeply troubling that General Mkhwanazi now seeks to shift responsibility for this long outstanding arrest onto me. The fact remains that the PKTT failed to act in 2022 and 2023, despite arrest instructions and fully investigated matters. They just never acted on them. Additionally, this report makes plain that the overwhelming majority of dockets within the remit of the PKTT were long stagnant. Only 18% of the dockets reflect a last day of investigation in 2025. A further 21% recorded a last day of investigation in 2024, and 22% recorded a last day of investigation as far back as 2023. Beyond this, a not significant number of dockets show even earlier last days of investigation dates, some dating to 2017, 2018, even 2019. This is the last date when they had a look at these dockets themselves. These figures belie any assertion that the PKTT was functioning effectively or making meaningful investigative progress. To the contrary, they reveal a pattern of dormancy and stagnation over a prolonged period, despite the team having been allocated substantial budget, resources, and operational support. General Mkhwanazi has
Sorry, General. What entry is made in a docket to indicate the last date of investigation? What do you write there?
A docket is divided. It will have what you call an investigation diary. Just like when you are in court, you've got a case, your case where you write your record every day. Now, in the case of a docket, there's got a C part of it, C5. Now, here, from the first information of crime, where you write, then you will write first information crime as per A1. Interviewed complainant, and then Mrs. So-and-so, he alleges 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then he gave me a list of witnesses to interview. I interviewed so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. Statement of witness so-and-so attached here to as annexure so-and-so. Statement of so-and-so attached here to as annexure so-and-so. You go now to a point where you say you received this evidence that you attach now in the B side of the document, and then you got this medical document or certificate that you also attach in the document. But everything that you do, you make entries in the investigation diary. Now, to an extent that when you have now, let's say, the supervisor now.
So there you note what you have done.
Yes, and then it is also communication between the supervisor and the investigating officer. Sometimes even the prosecutors will write in the investigation diary. Now,